Well, not being content with not knowing the full story behind this thing and why it failed twice in the same manner, this APC SmartUps UPS, I went ahead and took it apart. Basically just pull the cover off of it. The cover comes off pretty easily. You just spread it out a little bit and it lifts up. I wanted to pull it apart to get a feel for what the actual float charge voltage is, or trickle charge voltage, and also see how warm these batteries are getting. This thing's been running all night, basically charging up with no load. Same conditions that it was in when it was in the entertainment center. And these batteries are room temperature. They're not even warm being charged. So even on the top, you can tell there's not really a lot of room for ventilation in here, especially when the cover is on, and there's no cooling fan either. But maybe that's not necessary. So anyway, let's. This is a negative ground system, so I got the one of the test leads on the chassis, and we'll go ahead and measure what our voltage is. And we're getting 27.9 volts, which to me seems a little bit high for these batteries. These batteries are two 12-volt batteries wired in series, so this should be 24 volts. I would expect a charging voltage of like 25, 26 volts or something like that. But it's interesting, these batteries, it's a Yuasa brand, or I think that's how you pronounce it. And they appear to be made by Intersys. But I also found another Yuasa battery that I had, an older one, and it's actually made by Exide. So, kind of as a side note, I wonder who makes Yuasa batteries. Is it Exide or is it Intersys? It's probably neither. Like this company, Yuasa, has probably changed hands multiple times with different companies. But to get more of a accurate measure if this voltage is really within the right specification, I referred to the owner's manual for the battery I bought for the F250, and I just think it's really cool that a car battery actually came with an owner's manual. This battery is definitely made by Intersys Corporation out in Missouri, and that's the actual battery for the F250, the Group 65. And it was an expensive battery, but I got something for my money. I not only got a battery, a good battery, but I've also got a little bit of an education, because this owner's manual has a lot of information in here, which is really good to have on hand. And relevant to this UPS issue that I've been having, I use that as a paperweight, that's all it's good for now. There's a winter storage section in here, because this battery can actually be stored up to 2 years, which is pretty amazing. So it has a wintertime storage section, and to get an idea, the wintertime storage section is going to be very close to what the conditions we have in here for the UPS, basically just having a continuous float charge or trickle charge on these batteries. And the batteries actually, the car battery here is actually the same technology as these batteries. They're just basically absorbed glass mat batteries, or some people call valve regulated lead acid batteries. Nothing new. Just new for automotive use. This is the same kind of battery, just on a larger scale for starting the engine. And they're calling for 13.5 to 13.8 volts for a 12-volt battery. And that's going to equate to about 27.6 volts recommended, according to the manual. And we have on this charger 27.9 volts. So that's basically a little over a 0.3 volt difference, which doesn't sound like a lot. And I really don't think that I wish that voltage were a little bit closer to the specification in the manual. But the batteries seem to be doing okay. I don't think that that little bit of a voltage difference would cause a problem so severe that the batteries would reach an overcharge state and start conducting more and more current and overheat and basically fail. There is a variable resistor right here, but I don't know that that's actually for adjusting the trickle charge voltage on these batteries. I'm too afraid to move it because the UPS doesn't have any problems. That's the only potentiometer I see on the whole circuit board, which is actually quite elaborate. This UPS overall appears to be very well made. So I think I have a little bit more confidence now into what's going on. I feel pretty safe in putting the UPS back together and putting it back in the entertainment center where it came from. I don't think I need to have any more ventilation. These batteries are basically at room temperature. And I think I'll be good to go. I'm going to do one more test. I'm going to go ahead and switch this thing to inverter real quick. And I want to see how long these batteries will hold up the load. Doing pretty good, but it's falling pretty rapidly. These batteries are old. They came from the other UPS that I had yesterday when I made the other video. But they're good to have around just for testing purposes. I think that after a few more days, I'll be confident enough to go ahead and buy brand new batteries. But I don't think I'm going to buy the same brand I had before. I'm leaning toward the explanation that the batteries themselves are actually defective, which I know is kind of rare because they failed twice. I had the exact same problem a year ago. But when you buy batteries, you don't always get brand new batteries. They could be sitting on the shelf for a long time. I've seen car batteries at auto parts stores that were over a year old being sold as new. So it's very possible that I bought these batteries, basically the first time and they were old, and the second time I went and got batteries, they were from the same lot, which would have been twice as old. And so they may have failed due to old age, or they may have failed due to a bad design. But so far, with the very rudimentary measurements I've made with this UPS, I don't really see any problems going on with this at all. It seems to be a pretty high quality UPS. It's functioning properly. Battery temperature is nice and cool. So I think I feel a little bit better, because before I was thinking maybe there's something wrong with the charging circuit, and that's why the company got rid of the UPS in the first place. But I'm going to see. I'm going to put everything back together and put it back in the entertainment center, just like it was. And I may play around with these batteries a little bit and see if I can dig into a little more what happened. But so far the consensus is that these are just either not good batteries, or they were somehow defective, maybe due to old age. Which is really just disappointing, because they were good batteries, were high rate discharge series. But anyway, I'm going to put that back together and see what I ultimately end up with.